Welcome back. I'm sure you know the stories of some Americans taken prisoner in Russia. Brittany Griner, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. But you'd likely never heard this name, Stephen Hubbard. He remains the only American seized by Russian troops from Ukraine, and the State Department has been prevented from seeing him. And where he's being held remains a mystery. Our Patrick Reevell has his story.
From her home in Colorado, Patricia Hubbard Fox is trying to help free her brother, Stephen Hubbard.
Look how groomed he is. So all these like bruising, this up here, these are like lumps and stuff from all the beatings.
He's been held prisoner by Russia for nearly 3 years, captured in the early onslaught of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
I'll trade my life for his. If Putin would just send him home and he wants another life torture, take me. But bring Steve back. Take me.
This is Stephen, an elderly American zip-tied in the back of a Russian military vehicle. A channel close to Russia's security services airing the video. Russia charged the 73-year-old as a mercenary fighting for Ukraine. But his family, the US government, and Ukrainian officials say in reality he's an innocent teacher, forced to plead guilty following years of torture. Amid a Kremlin hostage-taking campaign, there are at least a dozen Americans held in Russia. But Hubbard is the only American that Russia has seized from Ukraine and put on trial. Hubbard's seen here struggling to stand as the judge reads out his sentence. Almost 7 years in a Russian prison camp. That was the last time he's been seen in public.
Russia says that he's a mercenary, that Steve was fighting for Ukraine. What do you say to that?
Well, it's just a lie. Steve was an English teacher, you know. It's just a lie. It's an excuse to kidnap Americans and not just torture them and beat them and do all this, but also for pawns. Steve is nothing but a pawn for Russia.
Russia has refused to grant US diplomats access to Hubbard and unusually even to say where he is held in violation of international law.
I start getting the images of what they're doing to my brother. You know, we sit down and eat. He can't sit down and eat. They live on concrete. They don't have padded couches or chairs or beds. Darkness, ugliness, cold.
Born in Michigan, Stephen Hubbard moved to Ukraine in 2014 as an English teacher. He settled in the small, sleepy city of Izium in eastern Ukraine. He was there when Russia invaded in 2022. Russia's 7-month occupation of Izium was one of the most brutal of the war. After Ukrainian forces liberated the city, they made a horrific discovery: mass graves. ABC News' Ian Pannell visited shortly after the liberation, shown sites of torture.
4 prisoners kept in here. It's damp, it's dark, it just reeks of fear.
Ukrainian investigators say Russian troops took Hubbard from his home in April 2022 and brought him to a torture chamber like this in the nearby town Balaklia.
Stephen Hubbard is...
About a month after he was detained, Russian state television showed Hubbard in a report from a prison in occupied Ukraine. Later, Hubbard was taken into Russia itself. Ihor Shishko was also captured by Russian troops. He spent more than 2 years as a prisoner of war in Russia. Photos show his body wasted from lack of food during his imprisonment. Ihor says he shared a cell with Hubbard for about a month.
Вони били, звісно, всіх, а будемо казати так, до американця ставились особливо жорстоко, тому що американці били по геніталіях, в тому числі і Стівен.
Ihor was eventually freed last May in a prisoner exchange between Russia and Ukraine. In Kharkiv, Ukrainian war crimes prosecutors have opened a case into Hubbard's abduction.
Безумовно, це є злочином, оскільки він цивільна особа, і він жодного відношення до військових Збройних сил України не мав. Він не займався жодною, не перебував в теробороні, він просто цивільний вчитель.
Ну, він казав, що в нього є сестра, хотів повернутися в Америку. Але таки маю надію, що це все зрушить і новий президент Трамп Сполучених Штатів включиться і зможе якось Стівена забрати з лав російських вбивців.
Hubbard's best hope of getting home now is a prisoner exchange. Last summer, Russia freed Americans in a large swap agreed with the Biden administration. Among them, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich.
Everybody knows Mark.
In February, Russia released another American teacher, Mark Fogel, in a different exchange with the Trump administration. The State Department has designated Hubbard as wrongfully detained, meaning the US can negotiate for his release. In the meantime, an agonizing wait for his sister. She's selling her home so she can afford to have a place for him to recover when he finally returns.
President Trump, you went and got another school teacher. Go get my brother before it's too late. Go get him, please. Go get my brother, bring him home.